Hi, I'm Charles Plott of Plott Advanced Systems. I'd like to start with a definition of the mental game. For my purposes, I define the mental game as controlling everything you can control. Now that's a lot of stuff, but also that means that there's a whole lot of your performance that is under your control. As parents and coaches, it is important to point athletes in the areas that they can control. Some of those include your thoughts and your actions. A lot of young athletes in particular feel like their thoughts are a product of their feelings, when the opposite is quite true. The way you think dictates the way you feel. And so it is important to understand that thoughts and actions are under the athlete's control. Things like training, how they practice, their diet, what coaches they see, what equipment they use, all of these things are under their control and are part of the mental game. Let's start with a definition of the mental game. For my purposes, I define it as controlling what you can control. Now that's a lot of stuff, but it is important for the young athlete to realize they are in control of so much of what goes on. When I work with an athlete, one of the things I point out to them is athletic activities are generally reactive. It is the hitting of the ball, the fielding of the ball, the throwing of the ball. The rest of what goes on in the game and the preparation for the game is all part of the mental game. Once the athleticism takes over, there isn't time to think. So let's look at a lot of the things that the athlete has control over. And it's important for parents and coaches to point this fact out to young athletes, and especially very young athletes. First of all, they're in control of things like their thoughts and actions. They're in control of their diet. They're in control of equipment they use. They're even in control of what positions they like to play. Now, they're not in control of what athletic gifts, size, speed, things like that they're given, but they are in control of what they do with it. So the mental game is very large, very all-encompassing. So we want to keep that in mind as we move through this presentation. Let's talk about baseball's unique mental game. Baseball is a weird blend of activities from a mental game perspective. In a lot of ways, baseball is like golf or tennis or bowling, maybe more like tennis than some others because it's a mixture of deliberate and reactive activities. When you have time to think about what you're doing in baseball, you have time to overthink, to try too hard. And so it's important to understand that I've got to think and prepare and then allow myself just to react. There are several things that are important for athletes to understand. First of all, trying to think yourself through an athletic activity actually slows you down. You can't do it fast enough. For instance, a gymnast can sit there and stare at that balance beam and stare at that balance beam getting ready to get up there. Once they get up there, they have to just let the natural athleticism occur. The same is true in baseball. A pitcher can think about a pitch, the catcher can locate where he wants that pitch to go, but once you start the mechanical motion of winding up and throwing, that in and of itself needs to be purely athletic. One component of baseball that is very different than a lot of sports is the rate of failure, in particular when you're batting. Hitting is, at younger ages, yes, you'll have some people who will bat 500, maybe better than that. But as you go on in baseball, the higher the level goes, the lower the batting averages become. And so dealing with failure is an important component of the mental game of baseball. One of the things is you have to decide, what do you believe about a strikeout when it happens? What is your belief about that? What is your belief about it simply a strike? I know some batters, they don't even want to swing until they have a strike on them. That they're valuing balls, they just want to get on base. They simply, that first strike doesn't mean a whole lot. Then I have baseball players I work with that suddenly get to that 2-strike count and a sense of urgency sets in, and they become great hitters with 2 strikes. And the reason is they're not afraid to swing and miss. They just want to put the ball in play. Their belief system frees them up, where others are so afraid to strike out that they may be standing there watching when the 3rd strike comes. They may swing so late that it's useless. They may have such anticipation the ball's barely out of the pitcher's hand before they're swinging. You must have a label that you put on strikeouts, groundouts, pop-outs, whatever it may be. You have to have a label that enhances your ability to perform, especially that time and the next. I'll see somebody hit a grounder. Well, they may have smoked it, but it's a grounder to second. And you'll see them drop their head and run toward first and they're out. But you'll see others who realize, I hit that ball solid. That's all I'm looking for. That label suddenly allows them to feel encouraged. Yes, I hit it to the second baseman, but I smoked it. That's what I'm after. I'm after hitting it solid. You'll have others, and I don't know that players realize this, the difference between a ball being hit really solid in a line drive, single, double, or triple to the outfield and being a pop-up to the outfield is just fractions of an inch. And they look at it, some, again, they'll drop their head, oh no, I popped it up. Others are telling themselves, I was right on that pitch, I barely missed it. The label you put on these things will dictate how you feel emotionally about your own ability. You don't want to be a sucker. What do I mean by that? Most of us believe that our confidence is based on what has just happened. And so they'll come up, and if I've struck out, a lot of baseball players get up there in the batter's box that 3rd time. Oh, please don't strike out. It's not my day. It's an awful day. I've got to do something right now. When the truth is, if you've struck out twice, the odds are going down. It is more likely that you'll get a hit. And so great young athletes have a unique ability to transform their failures into things that build their confidence. What a wonderful skill to learn in life. So when they get out there and they strike out, they feel like the next one's mine. And they get up there and they strike out again. Instead of being beat up, they get back out there the 3rd time fully expecting something good to happen. And statistically, that is true. Then we have the athlete that is dealing with the hot streak. What do you do to ride a hot streak? Well, as much as you want to use logic to build your confidence when things are going bad, we want to be as illogical as possible when things are going good. Baseball tends to be a thing of streaks. Well, that's the same thing if you threw a coin up in the air and you know that if you did it 100 times, it's going to come out 50-50 heads and tails. But you may have a run in the middle of it where it's going 10 times in a row tails. Guess what's coming? Sooner or later, you're going to get a run of heads. Well, baseball is typically a thing of streaks. You'll get in a down streak and in a hot streak. And when things are in a hot streak, you don't want to be logical. You don't want to get a hit the first time, a hit the second time, and get up there and go, well, I'm probably not going to get one this 3rd time. No, you want to get up there absolutely believing I'm on a hot streak and nobody can touch me. Now, what happens to most people that kills a streak will be trying too hard. Man, I've hit it good this time. I've hit it good the next time. I'm going to hit the 3rd one out. I'm going to knock it out of the park. And then they overswing, or they start getting greedy and think they can hit any pitch, when the truth is they've been keeping it really simple. They've been simply relaxing and doing what they do best. They don't try to force things. They just trust their ability. I'll get up this time and I've got the ability to deal with whatever happens. If he throws me bad pitches, I'm not going to swing at him. If he throws me a good pitch, I'm going to take a good cut at it, but I'm just going to try to hit it solid. I'm not going to try to do anything special. Now for, thank you. Now for some words specifically to the parents and coaches. The very first thing to do on the mental side is to teach fearlessness. Every great athlete I've worked with, and I've been around a bunch of them, they have a unique air about them. They are bulletproof. Nothing can touch them. If they fail 100 times, they absolutely believe they'll succeed on the 101st try. When things are going good, they believe things are going to keep going good. The worst thing to teach an athlete is to be afraid. Just like a fielder has to learn not to fear the ball coming at a rapid speed, maybe it's going to take a bad hop. They have to mentally be in the same place when they're hitting and pitching. They cannot fear failure. Failure doesn't exist. You go out, you swing. You try to hit the ball hard. You throw pitches. You try to locate your spots. That you don't get frustrated if you have a wild pitch, because as soon as you start guiding it in fear of having another wild pitch, you'll throw another wild pitch. Fearlessness, think about all the ways you can teach it. Kids look at how parents and coaches react. One of the things a coach taught me a long time ago was when scouting another team, they scouted the bench. They wanted to see what was going on when players were off the field or off the court. When they're mouthing off to the coach, when they come to the bench and their head is down and nobody's talking to them, it tells them a lot about that athlete and a lot about that team. When a player fails, hits that grounder for the third out to end the game, and all the coaches throw their arms up and rub their heads and walk around, that sends that player a message. I don't want to do that again. What I look for are coaches that have no physical reaction to bad events, because it teaches their players that I value you. I don't value your performance more than you. I've never seen an athlete get up and intentionally not do well. They're trying. And so parents and coaches must watch their body language, watch their words. I was at a baseball game. I've got kids playing baseball myself. And there was a crucial point in the game. Fortunately, it was not our team. The ball was popped up on the infield, and you heard a collective, "Oh, not again," come out of the other side, all of the parents talking. The kid heard that. That was an awful experience for that child. It was a natural reaction by the parents, but my point is this: parents and coaches, you cannot just naturally respond. You've got to choose your reactions if you want to teach fearlessness. Teach aggressiveness. Aggressiveness at the plate, aggressiveness on the mound, aggressiveness fielding the ball. There are times where you don't want to be overly aggressive. That's maybe in decision making. You'll see this in Little League. Well, I didn't get him out at first, but I'm going to get him out at second. Well, I overthrew second. Well, we're going to get him at third, and it goes into the dugout or hits grandma up in the stands. Aggressiveness in the decision making may need to be tempered, but we want batters who swing the bat. We want pitchers who throw strikes. We want fielders who do everything they can to get their glove on the ball. Teaching aggressiveness. This is very easy for some kids. It comes very hard for other kids. The more aggressive a batter is, the more aggressive a pitcher is, the more likely some bad things will happen. If you throw strikes, you're going to have the ball hit. But at younger ages, that's far better than walk, 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 because the pitcher is trying to be careful. So teach aggressiveness. And the most important thing, especially in a sport like baseball, is the decision making. It is such a complicated game. Make the decision making very simple. If we make a bad play throwing to first, we don't turn around and throw the ball to second trying to get him out at second. We throw it back to the pitcher.